Hey guys, Crystal here from Elite Hair Care USA. So today we're doing a transformation style on my client here who has some severe traction alopecia going on towards the front. I'm not going to say severe. Let me not say severe. But it has started to grow back. So we decided to do a shortcut and go from there. So I started out with a preliminary haircut just to get the sides and the back short enough for me to be able to apply relaxer. And then of course I went ahead and based her scalp to prepare her for the relaxer service. Now, of course, with every relaxer, you always base the scalp, no matter if it's short, long, or medium hair. And definitely want to put base in the area where they are experiencing the traction or anything else that might be compromising to the scalp that could create an environment for irritation. Now for the relaxer, I am using a sensitive scalp relaxer. Sensitive scalp does not necessarily mean that it is going to be sensitive or it's made specifically for people who burn quickly. Sensitive scalp actually processes a lot faster than regular relaxer to me, but that's just my thought process anyway. So after the relaxer, I did go through and use some of our Elite Silk wrap foam to lay the hair down. I did do a little bit more hair cutting, which I did off camera. And then, of course, your foundation is where the most importance is. So you do want to make sure that your mold is nice and smooth and flat. And that's the reason why I like to use our Elite Silk wrap foam, because it holds very, very well, but it doesn't flake and it does not leave the hair feeling sticky or heavy or anything. It just feels nice, silky, and smooth. Okay, so if you guys can tell, with us doing the short style, it masked the sides really, really well. Okay, so I was really, really happy about that. And then we'll go through and finish out the cut once her hair is fully dry. Now for the crown of her head, I did do a texturizer to keep a little bit more body, or you can say density, in the crown area. That is really by choice, and it's dependent on what the stylist is going to be doing or what style the client is going for. That's not something we do all the time to every client. And then if you guys notice, I used a wrap strip to wrap it around the head, and it did exactly what I did not want it to do, which was disturb my mold. So I took it off and I put some end papers on, which actually worked really, really well for her hair. It laid the hair down really, really smooth and just kept it in place. Whereas the wrap strip disturbed the mold, which happens a lot. So wrap strips aren't always your best friends. End papers work just as well, but it does have to be used when the hair is more like in a fresh relaxer state, or it won't really hold the hair down. For my natural babies, don't even try it. Use a wrap strip. Okay, so she's gonna go under the dryer for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then of course, once she comes out, we will get into the style, which I'm not gonna let you guys sit for 45 minutes to see her go under the dryer. But of course, dryer time can typically range. It depends on the client itself, let's say it that way. But it's very important that their hair is thoroughly dry. So for the crown of her head, I just went through and blew it out using the blow dryer. And one side of her cut was actually a little bit higher up than the other because the damage was a little bit more extensive on one side than it was on the other. So basically we took the side that was not as appealing and covered that side with her longer hair. So we did add a couple tracks to her hair just for fullness. We didn't really do it for length. I kept her length the way it was because I felt like it would work just fine. And then we just added a couple of tracks, as I said, in the crown only, just to add fullness. And we did use glue. Now, if you are not comfortable with glue and you want to do it with like micro linking or something of that sort, that is definitely your choice. For me, if you're only doing, just for some fullness, 2, 3 tracks, 4 tracks, honestly, if you know what you're doing, glue will be just fine. I know some people are just terrified of the glue. But if you are taught the right way to remove it, it's really, really simple and not as much damage. So, excuse me. For the crown itself, I just used a couple pieces that I had in the salon. This is not something that's going to take a full pack of hair. And I just went through and I placed them wherever I saw fit. Now, in the crown itself, she did have a little bit of thinning in an area, of course, that we could hide. But I'll show you guys how we were able to mask that thinning in the meantime. Now, if you're going to add longer hair, you will use more tracks than normal. When you are adding hair to match your client's length, you won't use as many tracks. So as you guys can see in that area, it is thinning a little bit more. So what I did was I put a track directly below it, okay? And then after I applied the track, I added some of our Elite Masket in the color black just to fill in the space. Now this is something you can do by choice. I like to do this because I do want it to have even coverage, but I do not fill it in to make it where it looks like I spray painted her head. Only to fill in so that we can have good coverage going forward. If the breeze blows, whatever the case may be, all of that area is covered up. Now let's talk removal of these tracks. When it's time for her to get the tracks removed, if she is not getting her service done at the same time and she just wants to take the tracks out, I always recommend that my clients go ahead and shampoo their hair. And when you use the shampoo and conditioner, it will soften up the adhesive from the tracks. Remember, glue is water soluble. So if you add enough water or shampoo or conditioner to it, they will slip. That is the easiest way to get them out. Just shampoo your hair as you normally would, and the tracks will begin to slip on their own. That's it. It was just that easy. So I'm using my razor just to go through and give her some definition in her cut in regards to the crown. You can use your razor, you can use your shears, it's your choice. For this, I used my razor first, and then I went back through and used my shears. And as I said, we were not going to add too much length to the front. It was more for fullness. She wanted it to be as much her hair as possible. And this is not something that you have to do when it comes onto the tracks. It's really your choice, okay? So in regards to the front portion of her hair, I did use the razor, but here's kind of my preference. If I had a choice, I would definitely use my shears more than my razor. I understand the concept of the razor. Of course, work smarter, not harder. It gives you that nice choppy look without those hard lines, but I can achieve that as well with my shears. So a word to the wise for all of my upcoming stylists, don't be afraid to learn how to use your shears. Trust me, this gives you the ultimate understanding for hair care and hair cutting, whereas the razor can't be used on everyone, but shears can. So definitely learn to use your shears and appreciate them. Me personally, I love my shears. I feel like I went to school for 10,000 years. I didn't go to school for nothing at all. So please, like I said, learn to use your shears. So I did spray a little bit of our goddess polish on her hair, which is available by going to the link in the description box below. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And please don't forget to thumbs up this video. So I'm using my Babyliss clippers to kind of thin down the nape area and then go through and blend it out with my shears for everything that is at the occipital bone and up. You do not have to use the clippers if you're not comfortable. You can do this in whatever way makes you comfortable. I like using my clippers, especially at the nape of the neck, because it gives it a nice fade. And I always do it with the blade open, okay? No guard, just open. But this is not something that I would suggest you practice on people's heads unless you are comfortable. So try it on a mannequin first if you've never done it that way before, okay? Now, on the edge, I did use the Andis Tea outliner just to edge her up. Some people like to use Peanuts. Some people like to use other brands. The Andis Tea outliner seems to give me the crispiest line. That's the one that I enjoy using, and I've been using that one for years. And lastly, please keep in mind, edgers are very sharp, so you don't want to push too hard. You want to be as light and as gentle as possible. That's why it's best to go ahead and taper down whatever needs to be tapered down before you use your edgers. And then of course you want to make sure you carve out the hairline. in whatever direction you want it to be or whatever shape you want it to be. I don't like to give boxy, hard hairlines, so I always try to do a curvature shape because it frames a woman's face nicely. Okay, and then for us to actually curl, I'm using my H2 Pro titanium 1-inch iron, and then I'm just going through really quickly to blend in the occipital bone and where I had thinned the hair down in the nape of the neck. Make sure you're blending at the end of every haircut because you don't want that bulky line. Okay, important. And then I sprayed a little bit more of our goddess polish on her hair, and I'm using my flat iron to go ahead and create her curl shape. So I'll let you go ahead and watch that part, and then we'll come on back and finish talking about the style. Yeah. Now, of course, for the shorter parts, I use my H2 Pro 3/10 of an inch iron. And then for the top and the sides, the top and the sides. For the crown, I used my 1-inch H2 Pro titanium iron. So here's a little trivia question for those of you who've been watching me for quite some time. If you notice, I am curling the hair in a certain direction. Can anyone tell me why I am curling the hair in that direction versus going track by track and row by row? Comment down below and tell me what it is. I know you guys are going to get it because you guys have been watching me for quite some time. Anyhow, I did also spray a little bit of Sebastian Shaper Plus on her hair. Now that is something that you can do by choice. I like the Sebastian Shaper Plus. There are two, Sebastian Shaper Plus. I like the Shaper Plus. It seals the cuticle really nicely, but it makes it where I'm able to comb through the hair and not have too much of a heavy or hard helmet hold. So that is my go-to for styling. And then I just use my rake just to comb through the curls and lay everything down, and it came out beautiful. Guys, please don't forget to comment. Tell me what you think. Tell us what you think about her hair. Don't forget to answer the trivia question. And then, of course, if you are one that's dealing with something like this and you are in the Apopka or Orlando area, or maybe at one of my tour stops, definitely book your appointment. Yeah. Also, the link is in the description box for you to be able to sign up for our webinar, which is our live hair care webinar, Boss Babes and Beauty. Because of COVID-19, we're switching it over to a virtual webinar on July 19th. So seating is available now to be reserved. The link is in the description box. And this is where you'll get to learn all about hair care for your hair, business for your business, all that good stuff. And of course, everybody that participates will get a book.